Have you ever had the feeling that you could be much further ahead, but something always happens right before you move forward? It's not a lack of ability. It's not a lack of opportunity. It's as if right at the moment of taking the next step, you pull back a little. And the most curious part is that this is almost never obvious. It doesn't look like self-sabotage. It looks like caution. It looks like perfectionism. It looks like waiting for the right moment. But there is a subtle way of holding yourself back that mainly affects those who think too much. Intelligent people rarely sabotage themselves in an obvious way. They do it elegantly, rationally, in a way that feels justifiable, and that's why it's so hard to notice. Self-sabotage doesn't begin when you quit. It begins when you decide to improve it just a little more before showing it. When you review something for the 10th time that is already good enough. When you learn one more module before applying it. From the outside, this looks like responsibility. On the inside, it is often fear in disguise. Fear of testing your ability in the real world. Because while something is being prepared, it can still be perfect in your head. But once it goes out into the world, it can be ordinary. And for someone who built their identity around being above average, ordinary hurts. Another way of sabotaging yourself is setting the initial standard too high. You don't just want to do it. You want to do it well. You want it to be relevant. You want it to be recognized. So you delay until you feel capable of reaching that level. The problem is that no one starts at their own peak. Every skill goes through an awkward, clumsy, imperfect phase. But intelligent people have a very clear vision of what excellence looks like. And the clearer that vision is, the farther the starting point seems. The gap between where you are and where you want to be turns into an abyss. And faced with that abyss, your brain prefers to wait. There is also the trap of constant analysis. You assess risks, calculate scenarios, imagine consequences. That is a strength, but when that strength has no limit, it becomes paralysis. You find reasons to start, and soon after, reasons not to start. You see advantages, and then problems. In the end, the decision never feels completely safe. And because your mind values logic and coherence, acting without full certainty feels reckless. So you choose to think a little more. But thinking more rarely eliminates uncertainty. It only postpones contact with it. There is an even deeper point. When you have always been seen as intelligent, your image carries weight. Every project becomes proof. Every attempt becomes a test of identity. If it works, it confirms what people already expect from you. If it fails, it threatens that image. To avoid that risk, you create distance from execution. You keep ideas on paper, plans in your head, dreams in the future. That way you preserve potential. But preserved potential is not realized potential. And little by little, that protection starts to become expensive. What almost no one realizes is that this form of self-sabotage doesn't shout, it whispers. It presents itself as responsibility, as strategy, as the pursuit of quality. But underneath, it is often just fear of being seen trying. Because trying exposes you. It shows limits. It reveals imperfections. And accepting imperfection is harder for those who have always been recognized for their mind. But real growth requires exposure. It requires going through the phase where you are not yet everything you could be. If you recognized yourself in this, the way out is not to reduce your intelligence. It is to use it differently. Instead of using your mind to predict everything that might go wrong, use it to find the smallest possible step right now. Not the ideal one, the possible one. Bring something into the world before you feel completely ready. Allow yourself to learn publicly. Because the truth is simple. Intelligent people do not fail because of a lack of ability. They fall behind because they try too hard to protect their own image. And when you understand that, you can finally choose to stop sabotaging yourself, not with force, but with the courage to start imperfectly.